Okay, so not for another walk. I would imagine I'll be doing plenty of these while I still look for work. But if you made it through the first video, good on you. You get to join me for another one. So, let's discuss why I haven't been able to go to a con yet, furry convention. I don't drive, and it's not through, and that's part of it, but that's not because I can't drive, like I've got a disability or something. No, I've got Asperger's / autism, a high functioning form of it. It's just none of my cousins wanted to drive themselves until they were 20, 21, 22. And so I'm figuring that I still don't drive because I'm always nice enough to ask my parents, hey, can I get a ride to such and such a place later this week or later today or whatever. And I don't really go anywhere outside of the movies. And to go hang around at the mall afterwards. Maybe window shop, maybe find some VHS movie I want or some Lego set that I want to build or something. Because again, ooh, nice and cold under these trees. Because then again, I don't have or know that many people around here anymore that would want to do stuff offline. I keep trying, like I said. I use Bark, I use Furzu, I make offers. I say I'll even find a way to get driven or mass transit to an area you're familiar with nearby, like Vista or something. But sorry, itch. But ooh, love that breeze. But so because I don't drive, I technically don't want to drive yet. Again, I can always play the ask for rides. I'm pretty good about getting mass transit. Like if I want to go to the beach, that's easy. Hop on board the Sprinter, make sure I got all my gear, ask for a ride to this nearby Sprinter station. If I can do that, if I can't do that, just make sure I plan enough time to walk there, get on board, take it all the way downtown, and then just walk to my spot on the beach, set it up, and away I go. But also, any job that I've had, it's been a little bit hard to save up for things like a con because that's even more expensive than my usual stuff, which is occasionally getting Lego sets or movies or things at the mall or occasional DuckTales comics or whatever. Because I'm a huge fan of DuckTales, as you'll learn, both when it gets mentioned here and on another channel I have that I couldn't figure out why I created it, but I'm just going to leave it to talk mainly about duck stuff. Anyway, I just, it's hard for me to save up that way, and my mother is usually the one that helps control my finances, make sure any bills I have are paid, because I don't get charged rent living with my parents per se. It's more like the check that I had, I could take out a piddly ass amount to use and play with, to do whatever with, and the rest of it just went in and it paid whatever bills my mother thought I had needed to be paid. So I don't yet have the interest, let's say, to want to figure out all the finances myself just yet. Like I'm right sitting in this nice little niche spot that I kind of like, and I sort of refuse to get unwedged from, if that makes sense. But that's kind of why I can't yet go to a con. I just don't have the funds, and I don't drive, so I'd have to walk everywhere, which I don't mind, but I'm saying if it was far from the airport to the convention area or what have you, then yeah, there'd be a bit of a issue there. Another reason I don't is because of my parents themselves. When I first tried to explain to my mother that I was a furry, I didn't have, and this was only recently too, within the last 5 or 6 years, that I tried to explain to her that that I'm a furry and been a furry for this long, since 2011. She was looking at me and mentioned to me basically the whole CSI furry episode. I'm not saying that that's a bad stereotype against the furry community. I'm simply saying that's my mother. She saw that. And since that was her first exposure, then, of course, her and my father were going to be a little bit apprehensive, I guess is the word I'm looking for about it. But I also know, shoot, I should have just gone live too. That would have been so much better. Anyway, so because of that, it's made it a little difficult for them to accept it. And I had to explain to my mother sort of what the furry fandom was and all the good aspects you'd get out of it. So she's kind of warmed up to it a little bit. Would I say my father has? Most likely not, and let me tell you why. He, one time, this is like some time ago, because last November Zootopia 2 came out, and I was so excited to see it, because I've been wanting to see a sequel to that for years, since I saw the first one. And while I was there watching it, I discovered they had the collectible popcorn bucket stuff. But not just that, you got a cup. But not just that, you got your choice of Nick Wilde ears or Judy Hopps ears. And considering that, I've always thought there's a little bit of me in certain species, like on top of ducks, like rabbits and almost thought I tripped. Anyway, like foxes and bunnies. And since I liked them both, I had a hard time deciding which ears I should get. And since you can't just buy the ears separately, at least that's what I thought. I asked the nice lady. I don't really remember, but I went up to the counter when we went to see, because my grandmother had come down for Thanksgiving, and we were, at least my mother and grandmother, we're gonna go see what's the movie, Wicked, for good, like the second one. And I thought, okay, can we try and see Zootopia 2 too? I'd love to see that in theaters, and I'm going to see that in theaters regardless. In fact, side note, that is the second movie I had seen the day before Thanksgiving. The first one was The Penguins of Madagascar, where they held back in 2014, because I'm still a huge fan of that one too. Anyway, I was there for Wicked that Friday after seeing Zootopia 2 that Wednesday. And I saw Zootopia 2 a total of 4 times in theaters. Every time I went with the ears afterwards. But while I was there for Wicked, my grandmother gave me her coupon discount thing that I had gotten her last Christmas. And she's like, here, use it for concessions or whatever. You know. So I got us all concessions. And a part of it was, I told the lady, give me the collectible Zootopia popcorn bucket setup. She goes, which ears do you want? And again, like I said, it threw me for a loop, because I was not sure who I liked better. Because I like both characters. I think they're both amazingly well done, well voiced, well rounded out, etc., etc. So I said, surprise me then. And she thought about it for a second. She goes, Nick Wilde. And I went, okay, cool, done. So she brings me out the Nick Wilde ears. And ever since then, like even for last Pride Festival, I wore the Nicholas Wilde ears around. And I'll make that a separate video here in a second. But back to my dad. So like I would try to wear the fox ears out and about, and he'd be like, really? I think his issue, main one, is that I might be made fun of or something because of wearing the ears by somebody. And this is what I say about that. I do not and have not been made fun of for anything in a really long time that I'm aware of, And even if somebody started to, I'd look at them and I'd say, and? Am I supposed to feel some kind of way about this? Because, frankly, I don't care if you don't like what I like. I don't care if it makes you want to make fun of me or whatever. I'm just going to ignore you because it is pointless to listen to you. Pointless to... Because then the whole thing about maybe they're feeling bad underneath it all, and so they need to feel better by making you feel bad, kind of a thing. So my dad is probably still not so much enthused that I'm a furry, or even would probably discuss it. It'd probably take a lot. Like some of those people that have conservative parents that would otherwise shit a brick to find out their son or daughter is into the same sex and will only date the same sex or swings both ways or whatever, and they're trying to get them to see from their side and not so much from the super religious whatever the hell side. So that's another reason why I'm unable to go to a con right now, on top of the fact that I'm also now a broke fur. But just that my parents and my mother would probably want to tag along, so I couldn't go to any of the not safe for work spaces, which is kind of a bummer. You probably couldn't invite me to a room party without my mother saying who's going to be there. I mean, I'm not saying she'd want to know who's going to be there and all that jazz like a super hover parent. But she'd be like, no, thank you, it's okay. And then she'd want to just lay in the hotel room and talk to me probably at night about how she feels about all this. And like, can I trust you and blah, blah, blah. Of course you can. Furries are a fun community. That's why I stuck around for so long, despite the fact that I haven't been able to do much furry-wise. But yeah, my mother would probably want to go, and she'd probably want to tag along to everything. And I don't feel comfortable dragging her through not safe for work spaces because I don't want to have that talk with her about whatever it may be. And how I feel about it and how I am about it and all that jazz. Yeah, so essentially, I will ramble on for about another 2 minutes or so, maybe 3, and then I will stop the video, simply because I don't know how much storage space I have left on my phone. I recently had to clear out a bunch of stuff to make space because it was barking at me about that. And then I'll make the second video about the recent Pride event I went to, and then I will and how that relates to me as a furry, and then that will be it until I'm walking next time, and I think it's something else I want to talk about in relation to me and the furry fandom in my life. But yeah, I'm a good fur, I have to think, despite the problems and issues that may arise from my life choices, past and present. I have to think I'm a good fur, or that I'm at least trying to be a good fur, a good furry, and show the world that I'm worth it. Show the world that you still can take a chance on me, and you still will get what you paid for. Goodness. But so yeah, one of these days I'll get to finally go to a convention of some kind, be it a small one somewhere nearby my hometown of San Diego, specifically Oceanside, or not, and it's somewhere farther away and bigger. But I also know somebody was trying to start a North County furry meetup group, and so far I haven't heard back about anything about that, and that's a shame, because there was at least 2 of us that wanted to join, on top of the person who was curating the thing or wanted to create the thing. Anyway, that's my topic for today. Why I have yet to go to a furry convention and that kind of a thing. Lord, it's still hot out. Lost track how many laps I've done around this freaking neighborhood already.